Welcome back, my fellow Perfect Darkers. For all 1 to 3 of you out there, it might climb to more, just depends. There's a lot of playthroughs of this game online, and some of them are really, really great quality, and this is just going to be okay quality. This is the original console, but it's recorded off a laptop. This is going to be the most difficulty level perfect agent, though. No cheats, and this is the original Nintendo 64 console, so there's no emulator or video game capture, which does come out a lot clearer, but this is the real deal, the real console from 1996 and the real cartridge from Rare and from the year 2000. So this is a 20-year-old game. I'm going to celebrate the 20th anniversary by playing all the difficulties and all the challenges all the way through and uploading them to YouTube to celebrate my Perfect Dark fandom. Also, Microsoft is coming out with a Perfect Dark, a new video game, and they haven't come out with a new video game in since. They haven't come out with a new video game since I believe I want to say 2005. So it was on the Xbox. It was called Perfect Dark Zero. I'm a huge Perfect Dark fan, but I never had an Xbox, so I've never had I've had a Microsoft Windows, but I've never had an Xbox per se. So. This is a more cerebral level. It's in an underground scientific laboratory. Yeah, this is more like a sort of, you'd want to call that this Perfect Dark world is like a James Bond X-Files. So it's pretty exciting. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like a James Bond X-Files. I guess, even though, but that franchise is more on the comedy side. It was called Men in Black. So I'm not sure if Perfect Dark will ever get out of video gamedom and become a motion picture movie. I know a guy tried. It said something on his page. It was kind of ridiculous. Like he wanted $20,000 to fund the movie of Perfect Dark, but on his GoFundMe page, it only showed. So, I mean, $1,200 is nothing to, especially if you have $0. $1,200 isn't anything to laugh at. But, I mean, if you're going for like a motion picture budget, though, I mean, I think, well, I was trying to think of the budget of something really low budget with no action at all. I know Blair Witch Project was pretty cheap by filmmaking standards, but even then it wasn't really that cheap. I think on the low end, Napoleon Dynamite with no action, no sci-fi, no CGI, no bad guys, no explosions, none of that. It was still $400,000 to make that movie. Star Wars cost $1 million, so you're still looking at some budget. I mean, to make one of these movies. Now, if it's a solid franchise, the studios are willing to take a risk on. They're willing to take a risk on something like Transformers, something they know that people are going to go watch. Ghostbusters, Star Trek, Star Wars. Star Trek isn't always like a really good bet, but Star Wars has a lot of trouble lately. But I think you could make like Star Wars a piece of shit, and people. I mean, you could literally call it Star Wars, the big piece of shit. It would still make $1 billion, maybe. Or if it flopped, the worst it would do is $500 million or something respectable. But I don't know if like these big budget CGI outer intergalactic movies like Star Wars.
I mean, their budgets have got to be like 300 to, or 250 to 300 million. So if they eat that shit with $200 million worth of marketing involved, oh god. But I think Perfect Dark could be made like an X-Files movie, just kind of modestly, and you don't even have to put the entire Perfect Dark into one movie. It's split up into little sections, so you wouldn't even have to do it all in one time. Now, I guess some people, if they were going to make a Perfect Dark movie, like the guy, I guess he tried to do it. He was trying to privately fund it, but honestly, if you're going to try to get the script done, you'd have to go through Microsoft because they own the rights to it. Well, Rare is the developer of this game, and this is the successor to James Bond GoldenEye, the massive hit. Oh, you shit. You are going to die terribly now. He got me on the corner, kind of like sneakily. Now I try to make it through these things. They're on maximum difficulty, so I don't always make it through. It's usually when I'm talking too much like this that I fail. So I'm gonna try to be more methodical, objective, and not necessarily going to talk less, but just be more concise in what I'm talking about. Keep the mission first and the story of everything later, I guess. Yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite games. I mean, of course I love Legend of Zelda and Breath of the Wild, and I love shit like that, but I think this is my favorite game. I mean, just the concept of a secret female agent. Now, who would I cast in this movie? Or the concept of an X-Files James Bond, espionage with aliens, like the X-Files. I love that concept a lot. So, and as I said before, it's sort of like it's a little bit like Buckaroo Banzai, because they have like a Carrington Institute. In Buckaroo Banzai, they have a Bonsai Institute, and they have their own team and everything, a team of good guys. I'm not saying that Perfect Dark was a ripoff of something, but it's definitely, as I said before, reminiscent of James Bond, Aliens, and a lot of science fiction properties like the X-Files. And in terms of the Area 51 portion, which is coming up, it's all just drawn from that Area 51 Bob Lazar lore of did the government find a crashed flying saucer in Roswell, New Mexico, basically. Basically where that mythology comes from. One of my buddies went on that tour too. Now, at first, this is sci-fi. I mean, they have a jump ship. They have all these like. It wouldn't be considered advanced computers now, but in the year 2000, it was kind of radical to have a. It was kind of far out to have a computer pad and computers were still new, so. You'll see there's a lot of emphasis on downloading, like it's amazing, and like breaking into a computer system is like so amazing. But now it's just kind of like even like somebody, even like a little kid could like hack into a system or something. But back then it was like there couldn't be necessarily a 5-year-old hacker back then, you know.
Down the experiment. I'll shut it down.
There's a lot of inspiration from, especially, you'll see coming up that, okay, the first levels are inspired a lot by Die Hard and The Matrix and movies that involve buildings and then this underground section reminds me a lot of something like from James Bond. And then, of course, the Area 51 level reminds me of, like, Independence Day. So a lot of these levels remind me of other movies, which is, I think it's a good thing that there's all this blend of cinematic. The game definitely is very cinematic, and I like that. And unlike GoldenEye, there's not a movie to base this off of. The creators of this game had to be very creative and just kind of pick and pull a bunch of sci-fi and action elements and make this hybrid X-Files meets James Bond, and I think they did a really great job. So I'm gonna switch. Well, I don't know about bringing out the big guns early. I don't want to waste a lot of ammo, but I am kind of. My health is not like alarming, but it's still not very good for how long this level is. So I might break out the big guns early just to put some of these guys out of commission. So I probably commented on the artificial intelligence before, but the artificial intelligence in this game is fairly good. Just blew up some stuff.
I haven't seen you before. Pull the plug on that. Now! Please, don't hurt me.
Okay. They try to trick you with guys that pretend to be friendly.
How are you? Switch this thing off. Allow me to assist you.
So you knock out the guys that you know that are going to screw you over. But the game will kind of give you hints who's going to fuck you over, kind of. So you kind of know. He's like, who the hell are you? They usually act very outrageous if they're going to screw you over. Or it'll be some setup where you think civilians like tame, and then they'll be like, they'll come out, they'll like trick you and surprise you, like they're gonna kill you then. Alright. Okay. Gotta catch this train quick. Oh man. Shit. Did I miss my train? I think I did. Oh, I made it. Okay, cool. That was really close, but I did it. Okay. So that guy kind of surprised me because I... Come here. Oh, you want me to come? Yeah, as I was saying earlier, the perfect person I think play the young JoAnna Dark would be, I'd say, honestly, Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley is pretty. She's relatively young. She's like, what, 28? Could be younger. I'm not sure. But yeah, she's perfect. She's beautiful. She's got a baby face. She's can be witty, and I wouldn't judge her by her Star Wars performance because that tends to make people's performances, I would say, shittier, but it is kind of a very contrived world. So if you were going to give like Daisy Ridley a real shot at action and female heroism, I would give her a shot at Perfect Dark would probably be the best.
Got to be nearby.
Gotcha. Alright, so what we do here is get the dragon. They pull a trick too when they know you're supposed to be messing with the computer. They send in guards. It's supposed to, all this stuff's supposed to like catch you off guard, and it works a lot of times. Like this part, you're supposed to be breaking into the computer place, and then that's when they send all the secret guards after you. But since I knew he was coming, I blew him up. So that was. Now the K7 Avenger ammo is very, very, very low, so I want to conserve that for a time where I need it, because I have no cheats, I have no anything like that. So all I have is my, as Nick Fury would say, my wit and my will to survive. Do I just have my regular gun? All right. Now, there's only one scene that really concerns me coming up, and it's a scene where there's a bunch of automated machine guns. That's the part that really... Typically, I can handle human to human, but when it involves a shitload of automated guns, then that's when it gets very not cool. So we'll try to deal with that the best way we can. Alright, so use one of our dragons here. Wow! Let's see if anybody comes from Sector 4. Sounds very interesting. Oh! Well, he surprised me, but didn't really get the jump on me, thankfully. The part coming up is not very hard. There was 3 guards in here, and I nailed one with the bomb, and then the part that I'm concerned about is this part here. I don't really know how to... I wonder if there's a way I could, like, sneak so there's no... let's pull back. Yeah, I'm going to try to nail one of these... Here's what we're going to do. Yeah. Alright, we got one. Let's try to nail the other before it nails me. Brilliant. Okay, so we got... There's still one more, but that's the part that concerns me, so I was kind of being extra super duper cautious. And this... Oh, shit. Oh, okay, so here's what we're going to do for here. Boom. Oh, shit. Oh, damn, boy. So my plan to do that worked, and everyone's dead. Woo! Now we're going to go get the security tech item. Okay, we got all the objectives clear. That was actually kind of close. I almost got fucking smoked there, but I got lucky, really. Usually I wouldn't use that proximity mine method because it's very clunky, but in that instance I didn't. So there's one more automated weapon that, if you're not careful, it's kind of hidden up here, and if you just walk on through, it will shoot on you. Make sure there's not an automated weapon here. All right. Oh, cool. Look, I like how it's like got the even like I don't think Google Alphabet Corporation even used like there's like different colored like Google tubes here for some reason. I know it's not exactly, but it does have those like those cool like blue and red and yellow and orange hues. So this is where we find Dr. Caroll. So I think this is our first really big time sci-fi revelation here in Perfect Dark 64.
Dr. Caroll?
Celebrating the 20th anniversary of this masterpiece.
Hello? Yes, all clear. What? You...
Very professionally done, my dear. There's no time to waste. You must leave immediately. Come on! I have vital information.
Oh shit.
Who was protected?
So we found the big reveal is that Dr. Caroll is not human. It's an artificial intelligence unit that was created by DataDyne Systems. So I think that's pretty cool. It's like a floating computer artificial intelligence unit that the DataDyne people have stolen. So very, very fascinating. That is DataDyne Investigation, and this carries on. I'm going through all the perfect agent levels, difficulty. I'm completing every single one with no cheats and just my savvy and survival skills to get through them all. Some of them get pretty difficult, as you'll see later on, and I'll have to be very, very, very careful and methodical in my objective. But I have beaten this game, I believe, on Perfect Agent before, I think, all the way through. So it'll be challenging, but I've been there before, let's say. So I'm definitely up to the challenge for the 20th anniversary of Perfect Dark Nintendo 64, the legendary